that. Comment. They did not need to be doing posting that in
Which one?
there. Yeah, one that my friend posted in there.
Oh, the one that starts with the first letter is F.
Yep,
Remove that one.
I'm
Okay.
removing it now.
Okay. I removed it. um. All right. Let's do this. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the 19th episode of Goddess Spotlight with Liaserenityrose. Do not worry, my co host Sonic Boon will be here later, so she will be coming in a little bit later than usual, but don't worry, she will be here. And of course, the spotlight for this episode is Chris, aka Chaos of the Protectors.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, so let's get started. All right, so here's my first question for you, Chris. How did you get into voice acting? Like, how did you become interested in voice acting, and what inspired you to do voice acting?
Yeah, starting off with the year, I started doing like any kind of like voice acting when it came to before like the Sonic characters was back in 2019. I have two people who I still work with who actually pushed me to actually become like a voice actor and content creator. Yeah, one of them being Darkbox and the other one Jules AF. Those who have pushed me to actually become who I am now, and I still have others who are still pushing me to do better along with them.
Wow, that's great that you have like friends that pushed you, to get into this because they saw the potential. That's really great. That's really great, Chris. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question for you. I'm very curious what got you into the Sonic franchise?
Funny enough, I've been in the franchise for years, even when I was a kid. I didn't fully get back into it till after, like, honestly, it was still back in 2019 when I first started putting into content. And the channel's been around since 2014, but actual content was 2019.
Mm, very interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting because I was exactly the same way. I had my YT channel for a very long time, ever since I was young, but I didn't start putting content until maybe a like a few years ago or several years ago. So I totally understand. Um, and everything. Oh, I see a question in the chat by the underscore prankster. Hello, prankster. Question for Chris. What really caught your attention when it came to the Sonic fan community? Interesting question.
That once again, it goes all the way back to the two people who pushed me into doing the content work when it came to the Sonic franchise. Yeah, Darkbox and Jules. The content they were doing as Sonic and Shadow. Yeah, for like when it comes to the voice work and doing other content that is not like just comic dubs. Like those two have pushed me into and pushed me to actually, like I said, push me into doing like in a good way into doing like voice work and even the Sonic community. I've seen how the Sonic community has changed a lot, but in my opinion, it's still the same to me. I still love being in this community. Nothing, no matter what kind of drama that goes on, nothing will stop me from loving it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to believe every fandom is like that. It has like its pros and its cons, Like that's something I agree with. It's like no matter the cons or the negatives about it, you still love the franchise for what it is. You still love the community as it is because every community and fandom is technically like this. So
Right.
so, so I totally understand, it just makes a lot of sense. Um, all right. Here is my next question for you, Chris. Are there any professional voice actors who inspired you to become a voice actor yourself, other than your friends like pushing you? Was there any professional voice actors that inspired you?
Honestly, there's too many of them, especially when it comes to like the OG voice actors like Ryan Drummond, Jason Griffith, and Rudder Craig, and I'm gonna include him as well, Devin, because like what he was doing was some special stuff for Sega themselves. But if I had to choose one that really pushed me, especially with when I got back into the franchise, it was one of the newer games, aka Sonic Forces. I would have to say Roger.
Oh, interesting. So Roger kind of like was very inspirational,
Hmm.
what and pushed you to actually become a voice actor. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, I see a question in the chat by Miles Tilsco. Hi, Tilsco. Question for Chris. I guess the question is it says what is your favorite Sonic character to voice the most? I think that's what they were trying to write.
Hmm. I would have to say, aside from the comics, being able to voice like a lot of the characters in there, along with the rest of my friends, I would have to say the one I enjoy doing the most, which is actually more than one to be exact, is the custom hero that's been on the poster, aka Gadget the Wolf. But I also enjoy voicing Omo Chow, General, and Omega.
Oh, interesting. Nice. Yeah, like it's very like I've kind of noticed that the avatar character or gadget,
Mm-hmm.
like it's kind of like I don't hear a lot of like, VAs actually do like the avatar character's voice. So it's up
Well,
for like interpretation, Everyone has their own like interpretation for it. So it's quite interesting.
well, actually, even before I started voicing Gadget, there was one other channel that actually voiced, and I had Gadget in there who had the VA for it. That would be Sonic Song 182 with Sasso Studios voicing Gadget.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I'm saying it's very rare though. Like I
That is
haven't
true.
seen I haven't seen as many like VAs actually, voice like Gadget or the Avatar character. So it's very interesting when I hear actual, VAs actually attempt like their in voice interpretation for it.
Hmm.
So it's quite interesting to hear about that.
It is.
Oh, oh, I see another question from Prankster. Question for Chris. Think of this as a hypothetical question. Which Sonic character from any part of the franchise would you choose to pull a prank or just cause mischief with?
Hmm. I can answer both of those questions there. One, even though it would be risky, I'll probably end up getting hurt, or worse, I'd probably try to pull a prank on Shadow. Again, it would be
Oh,
painful, and I probably end up, getting hurt or even worse. But if we worth it, to try to someone try to get a laugh out of and to cause mischief with Momo Chow.
ooh, very interesting. Yeah, Shadow is like a very dangerous risk because it's like his character is like he always looks like he's in a foul mood a lot, like he's always grumpy, so it's like if you kind of ruin his day by pulling something on him, yeah. Yeah, he might come after you.
All I can say is
Yeah.
worth it,
So yeah, that's very interesting.
and I'm pretty sure people will
Oh,
still be after me, especially if I'm helping out Momo Chow.
oh. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, here is my next question for you, Chris. Tell us your experience of being a part of the Sonic Revolution voice cast and the staff and what it means to you.
Honestly, starting with the voice cast, I have a lot of fun being with them, especially during Revel this year. just being actually officially a part of the whole thing, it definitely made me happy, and it actually gave me the big push that I've had for the past few weeks after the in-person convention. I've been trying to improve my own voice, heck, even actually talking to a few friends to actually help me improve my own voice, because I want to actually show that I can do more and then what I already have and actually improve
Mm.
it. And working with the staff, like I have a lot of fun working with you, Kevin, Shane, and all the others. Because
Yeah.
when you think about it, well, actually not think about it. Yeah, when you look at it, it's like we're a family. When we're trying to do something, we all have one thing in common. We want to have fun, and we want to make sure people who love Sonic himself in the franchise are able to enjoy what we all love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that is what Sonic Revolution, the VA cast and the staff, like we're pretty much like a big huge family,
Hmm.
and I love that vibe. Like it kind of feels like we've known each other forever, even though like we started to become, more prominent with doing the Discord panels and you
But when
know
you meet each other in person, your
yeah.
connection starts to grow even more stronger because you're getting to
Yeah,
meet the
like
person behind that screen.
exactly. Like yeah, I felt like our bonds of friendship when we got to see the others at the in person, it just intensified because we're already now putting the voice to the face, username to face and it was and I can clearly see you guys had like great chemistry during the Revo VA improv panel that it clearly shines there. So so I
Okay.
totally understand what you mean. It's like the chemistry is there. It's um our our bonds of friendship just, it just felt like we've known each other like forever, and yeah, like but what does it mean to you, like, if you could sum it up in one word?
What it could mean to me,
Mhm.
honestly, there could be many things I could say in regards to that, and they all be the same. Honestly, what it means to me is I love every minute of it, and I wouldn't want to change it either way.
Aw. That's beautiful, Chris. Very beautiful. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question. In in Sonic Revolution, in the main Discord server panels, did you have any favorite panel moments that you find either memorable or funny?
Hmm. Aside from the ones that I've been in, which is like the two Omochao panels, I would have to say the ones that was really fun that actually had me like really seeing like getting to experience it. Like the one with the Curtis and Burgers, I forgot who it was. McMobius and the ones with Big. Like being able to actually do something like that, especially experience.
Mm. I always love asking these questions because like um especially for those who are in in Revo, and like, especially the voice cast, it's like we all have different memorable and funny moments from different panels. I always love hearing the different answers for sure. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question. Do you have any other favorite character panels other than the ones that you've mentioned?
Hmm. There's so many different ones that were all good. Ooh, one that I actually voluntarily joined, which was the girls' night. That one was fun.
Ooh.
I
Is it
still
the
have
very
memories of it.
first one?
I think I was part of the second one.
It was the second one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was the second one that I joined in, and I know
I
Ultimate
it's
was in that one, and I think Kelp was in that one too.
oh, I wasn't too sure because it's been such a long time, so I can't exactly remember,
Same.
all like the girls' nights. So, but that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Ooh, okay. Um, Here's my next question for you. What brand of recording equipment do you use to have the best sound quality, and which would you recommend?
Hmm. I know the amount of microphones I've used in the past up till now. First one was one of those like wire ones that you just clip onto your shirt, and I upgraded to the snowball one, but due to some technical difficulties, yeah, like my computer itself wouldn't even allow me to even use it. All I hear is static. And then I upgraded to the mono microphone podcast microphone, which also helps with my voice when it comes to my voice acting. Though I do plan on upgrading again to one of the better ones.
Mm.
And for one of the recommended microphones, if I remember correctly from what one of my friends told me, I would say the XLR microphone would be the best one when it comes to voice acting.
Yeah, I've heard that the XLR is like the best quality one because that's used what actual professional VAs actually use, for to use for cartoons, video games, commercials, I've heard about that. Yeah.
And I
XLR is
plan
a
to get
very
me one.
because I know those are very expensive too, um, from what I can recall.
As long as I save up for it, and as long as I still have this one, I should be fine.
hmm Ooh, okay. I see another question by Tailsco. What is your favorite oldest video from your YouTube channel?
Honestly, I got too many of my favorite ones that I haven't seen, haven't really looked at in such a long time. Especially since here's a little fun fact about me when it came to trying to get into the whole voice acting thing. Back then, I actually voiced, I kid you not, Shadow, but also Rouge.
Oh, interesting.
And I did a lot of funny videos with that one, including reactions when it came to and that.
Very interesting. Like, I'm very curious. When you look back at like your older videos on your YouTube channel, like, do you see how much your video content has improved over the years? Like, I'm very curious.
I do, because with the newer content that I have on my channel, literally, I have my friends who help me out with those videos to thank for that. I can't take all of the credit when it comes to those, including some of the comic dubs, like the organizing
Mm,
and everything. I wouldn't really have gotten any of that done without the help of James, aka Mr. JPEG. He's been helping me out a lot with those, especially with the most recent one that's gonna be released soon.
nice, nice. Like at the older videos, you can kind of tell the audio quality is like not up to par to what it is now, right? Like you
Yep.
can you can clearly tell the audio quality is very, very different
Yeah,
because you
because I
have
recorded with my phone itself.
yeah. I heard that recording with your phone is not really the best thing because
No, it is not.
um
Even on Discord.
because yeah, like phones is not really recommended for voice acting. So I totally get it because when you actually hear it back on your phone, you're like, yeah, not really the best quality.
No, it is not.
Um, and hi, Rainbow. I just saw
Hello.
Rainbow say hi in the chat. Ooh, I'm very curious. Here's my next question for you. Are there any warm-ups you do for your voice before you record? If so, what type of warm-ups do you do?
I try to, even when I'm walking to work or doing other things, I won't really say because there's, yeah, don't need to be saying that on YouTube or in the stream. But most of the time, I try to envision like some of the characters I'm playing to try to get into the character. There are many times, even when I'm recording the character, I try to really get into it to try to see if I can get one that would actually yeah, like fit for this video and for this recording, especially when it comes to the comic dubs. There are many times where I end up like stopping myself and like re-record it to try to get the pitch I want for it. Pretty much like giving
Mm,
myself my own self live session.
Yeah, because I know like warming up your voice is actually pretty recommended. Because I've watched some Q&As that VAs actually do. That I remember I watched like a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and they were asked a question, I believe, about like if they do any warm-ups, before they go to the studio to record, and they actually do practice their voice, to warm up their voice. And it's quite interesting what people do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I always love to hear if you do warm ups because it's always like think of it as like when you exercise, like think of doing warm ups for your voice as like an exercise, like you're kind of exercising your voice a bit to warm it up before you actually do record. It's the same with like when you exercise, you got to stretch first before you run, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's very similar. And hi, MC. I see MC in the chat. But yeah, that's so interesting to learn because I always love to hear if people do warm-ups for their voice, especially when it comes to voice acting. Here is my next question. In your words, what would you say is the most rewarding when it comes to being a voice actor?
The most rewarding thing I enjoy and like to see is how much people enjoy the work that I do as well as the many people I work with.
Mm, yeah, I think you hit it spot on. It's like when people enjoy your content that you voice in. I've always seen what the because I follow a lot of voice actors on Twitter, and they do post that 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 they're allowed to like post like, hey, I'm like voicing this character in this anime or cartoon or video game. So like I can definitely see why it's very rewarding, because the most important, the objective and goal of voice acting is, to pretty much be sure that your audience enjoys what you voice and.
And also to add to that, it's also like when it comes to the like aside from like the actual main like canon comics, like I enjoy being able to actually give like some of the fan comic artists out there that like who make a lot of the amazing comics that you normally see that a lot of people would love to see in the actual canon stuff. And like I love seeing how they love the work that we do. They
Hmm.
enjoy seeing it because they also get the recognition that they like solely deserve, which I enjoy doing. Whether or not it's me voicing in them or it's the people I work with who voices in them. They get to like as long as they and them as well as the creator themselves have fun with it and enjoy it. That's what I also enjoy seeing. Because you know the
Hmm.
saying, credit is give credit where credit is due. There's a lot of people
Exactly.
nowadays, especially those who are not fully well known, deserve more recognition than they think they do,
Hmm.
whether or not it's voice
The
acting or drawing.
hmm Yeah, that's something I agree with. Yeah. Like especially when you're doing collaborations, especially, you have to give credit where it's due. That's something I always believe in too, like for sure.
You
Ooh, okay.
can't really give yourself fully the credit, especially since you couldn't have done it by yourself.
Exactly, yeah. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question. Are there any Sonic characters you relate to in terms of personality?
Hmm. Honestly, I would say again, I'm gonna be having to go with two. I would have to say, like, when it comes to General, like, wanting to help out, actually three, Sonic, General, and Omochao. When it comes to Sonic, like, what he does, helping people no matter who they are, I enjoy doing that, whether or not it's voice acting or, like, with my other job. I enjoy helping out the customers without even without having to know them. Just seeing their smile always pushes me to actually keep doing what I enjoy doing, just like what Sonic does.
Mm,
And the same
nice.
thing when it comes to general, but also being protective of my friends. Won't be overprotective, but I always want to be able to protect my friends, especially when they're going through a lot of stuff. I always tell them if there's something going on. I always tell them my DMs are always open because nowadays you always need a shoulder to cry on, especially when
Mm-hmm.
they do the same for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And for
Yeah, that's.
Omochao, good.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say for Omochao, just being like to be able to make people laugh sometimes, especially with the way I portray the character itself.
Oh my gosh. I I love it when you voice so much out because I got to see it in person at the Revel in person event this year, and you did that to Andrew and Doom because I think it was Sonic and Omochao and Charmy and Omochao from when I
Yep,
remember.
those two.
It was great. Like, I know I was talking with Doom and Andrew yesterday's live stream that I knew we did talk about the about when they both did like a skit with you for the Rebel VA improv, and it was like Sonic and Omochao and Charmy and Omochao.
Yep.
um and and then I asked them, I forgot, how did that conversation end? And then I think Andrew mentioned, oh, I think it was like Sonic trying to turn Omochao off or put him to sleep or something like that. I
Honestly,
was
it's been
like,
so long, even I've forgotten.
do you happen to remember the improv you did with Doom when it was Charmy and Omochao? Do you happen to remember the end of that or no?
Honestly, I don't remember what we were doing with that one.
Oh,
I think it was almost like the same thing what Sonic was trying to do,
ah.
trying to shut him off and whatnot.
Ah, gotcha. Oh, yeah. For those who didn't go to the in-person event, we did have several of our Revo VAs there, and we actually had a panel where it was the Revo VAs doing improv as the characters they were casted as. And Chris here was involved, voiced as Omichao, well, voicing Omichao. Um, for the Revo in person, and the comedy was like the pairs were like actually great. Like I was not expecting these pairs to nail it very like you guys did such an amazing job.
Honestly, this is
Ooh,
why I
okay.
enjoy working with them because it helps really come up with more ideas when it comes to stuff like this, especially for Revo
Hmm.
panels.
Yeah. Revel panels are always fun to tune into. I only tune in if I have time, but if I'm busy, I just listen back to the live stream that live streamed it,
Yeah.
and stuff. But here is my next question here. From your perspective, what makes the Sonic franchise stand out in your from your perspective?
Ooh, is a good question. Honestly, I would have to say with the amount of characters that's not just Sonic, like the other characters from the different games in the franchise, like Knight, as well as so many others. Even
Mhm.
Bayonetta, if I remember correctly, she's also a Sega character.
Mhm.
Like those games, they're all like are big, yeah, like big inspirations for people when it comes to voice acting and even like just like in general, just loving the franchise itself. Like, yeah, those franchises wouldn't be as big, yeah, like wouldn't be the same if, honestly, in my opinion, if like Sonic or any of the other ones weren't around. Sega wouldn't really be as popular as it was is now if it wasn't for those games. Just
Yeah.
like how it is with Nintendo. Like
Mhm.
none of the games would be as popular if it wasn't for Mario, the main mascot to Nintendo itself.
Yeah, that's true. So because you can tell how huge Nintendo is because they literally got their own Super Nintendo amusement park at Universal. So that really says a lot.
Indeed, it does.
Oh, yeah. But I highly recommend if you ever go to Universal Studios Hollywood or or when they do eventually open the one in Orlando in Epic Universe, I highly recommend the Mario Kart ride. It's actually pretty decent. um I was not expecting it. I was not expecting it to be a mix of like a ride and VR. So it's a very interesting mix.
It gives you the full on experience.
Yeah, it does. But it was kind of a little bit weird and awkward because when I had to wear the VR thing, I had to tilt my head a lot, and it I was like, this it's kind of a little strain on the neck, if you know what I mean.
Well,
Yeah.
like when it comes to the content I do, that's not just yeah, like comic dubs or reactions. There are. Hang on one second. Anyways, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Anyways, when it comes to the VR, I've done along with a few of my friends VR content with an actual VR headset. It I don't know, and like compared to that one because I've never even actually rode on it, it's hard to really give an opinion like on how it would feel. I guess with the ride, when it's a combination of the ride and VR headset, it'll probably feel a lot more different because you're actually having to
Mm,
be sitting around and you're having to actually feel the motion of the in and out of VR.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. Oh, okay. Here is my next question. What are some of your favorite voiceover roles you have done? Like it can be your own content or it can be like for someone else's content. I'm very curious.
What was that?
Oh, what is some of your favorite voiceover roles you have done so far? It can be from your comic dubs that you posted on your YouTube channel, or it could be from someone else's YouTube channel.
Hmm. Well, I can definitely name off the champions arc for MC, even though it's like one of the extras, but I still have a lot of fun just being able to be a part of that. Uh, Honestly, I can't remember any other ones that I've collabed with. That was a comic dub. It's been so long,
Mm,
but I will
got
name like say I will be looking forward to one that I was invited for Omega, but that won't be starting till close to the end of the year. So I will be looking forward to that.
Oh, very interesting. Oh, it looks like I see a question in the chat by Chaotic Emerald. Question: is there a character that you haven't tried to voice yet, but you want to? That's a great question.
Hmm. Honestly, there are many. I've already tried my hand with SPO for a comic that will be somewhat in the works once we get the rest of the lines for. But there is one character I'm actually willing to try out, despite it not being in my range, but I'd be trying to practice with it. I would have to say Knuckles.
Oh,
And there's Boom.
Hi guys, how's it going? Sorry, I'm a little bit late.
You're
it's
fine.
okay. You're all good.
Yeah, I'm glad I can make it. So how's the stream going?
Going good.
going, going pretty well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Since you're here now, Boone, do you have a question for Chris?
Um, well, I don't really know what's been asked already. So, sorry if this has already been asked, but is there a character that you wish you could voice that you haven't voiced in a project before?
Yeah, funny enough, that was one of the questions I was answering, but I will answer it for you. It would have to
Oh,
be Knuckles.
Knuckles?
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, despite his like the voice range for the character as well as like how he is, it's a character I'd be willing to try.
Oh,
Try to go out of
I
my
would
usual voice range.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
I am very curious to if you ever do get around to voicing Knuckles, I want to hear your voice interpretation of Knuckles. I've heard
Same.
so many I heard so many people's like different versions of voicing Knuckles because some people kind of go more towards Scott's voice direction, and then some tend to do Dan Green, some might do Travis, and some might do Dave. So this is very got me very curious now.
Yeah.
Now I have to try to get some
Hmm.
more practice in before I could even actually attempt to do one, but he is definitely one of the characters I'm wanting to try for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, you have all your dubbing going on, with your channel and stuff, so there's a lot of opportunities for you to try it out.
Right?
Hmm. All right, here's my next question for you, Chris. What do you think is the most important skill for a voice actor to have?
Honestly, that is a tough one. Yeah, even for me to even answer. Yes, sometimes I'm still learning from one of my own like fellow VAs on how like what the voice like how the voice would be. It's even I will say right now I'm still trying to improve my own voice, so I can't really give an honest like answer on that one because even I'm still
Mm,
learning.
gotcha.
We're all still learning, we're all still growing.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I love asking because some voice actors will have different answers for this. This is why I ask these types of questions.
Completely understandable.
Hmm. All right, Boone, do you have another question for Chris?
I do. Um, Again, I don't know if this one has been asked already. Um, but is there like a dream role? And I don't just mean in like how do I say this? Fan projects, but like in an actual series or like an actual show or movie that like that's your dream role. Like you wish you could voice that character in like the actual official media, if that makes sense.
Not gonna lie, I would have loved to be able to voice an Iron Man, if they were to do a reboot of that. I would love to be able to voice Iron Man. Like if any of you try to go with the younger route of the character.
Ooh,
Really,
very
I was not
interesting.
expecting that.
Trust me, I am a big fan of Iron Man.
Yeah,
I
sweet.
Ooh.
even have my own superhero, like hero, and literally inspired by the characters, like the character itself.
Mm. Yeah, I was not expecting that either. I was like, "Ooh, Iron Man. That's interesting."
Totally.
Full of surprises.
Well, if you do end up getting up there in the industry, I I hope you can voice Iron Man someday.
Yeah, because like it's just surprising because like for those who weren't at San Diego Comic-Con, it's actually revealed the actor for Iron Man is actually going to be playing Doctor Doom in the Avengers Doomsday. Um so that's very interesting. That's a very interesting dream role.
It is.
Yeah, very interesting. Ooh, all right. Here's my next question for you, Chris. Is there any specific dialect you would like to learn?
I like that. Then, like, what do you mean by dialect?
Like think of it as like, you want to learn the accent, to speak it, without coming off like, stereotypical or something.
Hmm. Well, it's more of being able to kill for me to for that question. It's more of something what I want to actually do with now what I already know how to do is being able, like I'm able to speak somewhat in Japanese, and I would love to be able to actually go for roles that are not just like that isn't just Sonic, but like other projects that are like with Japanese. If you get what
Oh, I see. No, I get what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's really neat. Wow, you go, Chris.
Yeah, it's always good to step out of your comfort zone, because you just
Mhm.
never know. Like the voice acting industry, it's like you never know what type of role you may be getting into. And then the voice directors might say, hey, you might need to do this specific accent or dialect. I actually saw like, I think it was one of Rogers, like when he did a panel, I think it was like in, I forgot which convention it was, but he actually mentioned that he actually had a dialect coach there with him when he was recording for Assassin's Creed. When he was trying to get all the words, how to speak the dialect correctly and how to say the words correctly in that dialect. So interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a good skill to have because you just never know. Because like not every role you're gonna get into is always gonna be like, a regular American accent. Sometimes they may ask you for like, hey, can you do like this European accent or like this type of other dialect? It's a great skill to have.
Hmm.
I
Ooh, Boone, do you have another question?
I'm thinking of one. You can go ahead.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm very curious. Have you faced any challenges, when it comes to voice acting in general, and how have you overcome them?
Honestly, the biggest challenge is even back then when it came to voice acting, as I mentioned before, like with the content I do now, having VAs for those characters, I used to voice both Shadow and Shadow. The challenges I have when it comes to like trying to do voice acting to try to, get to that perfect pitch for me, like for myself. It's like when it comes to both Silver and Shadow, and even Sonic, because I
Mm.
don't have my own style of voice of how they would sound. Oh, oh,
Oh, Boone already let me know.
okay,
She'll be right back. Don't worry.
all right, but yeah, the biggest challenge, like I said, the biggest challenges I have when it comes to voice acting. If you also count Knuckles, because it'll be a new challenge for me to take. is voicing, trying to work on the voice for Shadow, Silver, and Sonic,
Mm.
especially Shadow. Because with the way my voice sounds, it's kind of hard to really get that tone of voice for the character.
Ah, gotcha. Like, is it like Shadow's voice like a lot deeper? Is that like harder in your vocal range to reach?
It is, because no matter how much I actually try to go into the deeper voice, I'm still hearing my normal voice combining with the deeper voice.
Gotcha.
But when it comes
Yeah.
to like other voices, I'm glad that people like heard my voice. Like when I try to do like one that almost sounds like a certain villain in a certain upcoming game. Sonic Generations. Some people will say my voice sounds like the Black Doom when I do this. Hello.
Ah, yeah. I can see why, because it does sound very similar to Black Doom, yeah. I can definitely hear it.
When it comes to doing that voice, you don't really hear the combination of my actual voice with the voice I do with that.
Mm,
So then again, that's because of many years of doing that, even before becoming a voice actor.
mm, gotcha. Welcome back, Boone.
Thank you. Hi. Sorry.
It's all good. Um, but that's very interesting. Yeah, like I feel like like with Black Doom, like the character, like in your vocal range, it just makes it easier. Because I know with some people, it like if it's a really like great, I don't know how to describe Black Doom's voice. I'm trying to think. Like, is it like grazing? Like it could affect your vocal cords, I think. I know some of my other friends when they try to do it, they're like, it's like a little weird on their vocal cords.
It's a bit gravelly, kind of.
Yeah. Like, is it like gravelly when you do Black Doom's voice for you, Chris?
Honestly, with the amount of time I've done the voice, even when it's not even in comics, I never really noticed if it was gravelly or not.
Mm. But is it is it a little like harsh on your vocal cords or no? Really?
Only when I try to laugh. When I try to
Oh
laugh
god.
doing the voice.
Ah, okay. I
That
can
makes sense.
yeah, because I
If I
know
try,
some characters.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, go ahead.
Whenever I try to do the voice, and like especially if I try to do like a maniacal laugh doing the voice, even when I like intentionally not trying to do dark Black Demon's voice, like yeah, when like I said, when I try to do a maniacal voice laugh, it would actually like it ends up like messing up the deep monstrous voice that I try to do.
Mm, gotcha. Um, Boone, did you happen to have another question for Chris?
I sure do. I don't really know how to word it, so just bear with me here. Um, so like, are there certain like when you're recording lines, like, are there certain words that you have trouble pronouncing? Like for example, like for me, like if there's a word that ends in a like izer, like let's just say like digitizer, for example, like that completely throws me off of my game of like recording lines because it's just like I just have a hard time saying that word. I have no idea why. So what would that word be for you?
Honestly, when it comes to like the comics that I voiced killed in, like for instance, Scratnik Island comic, that one like trying to do the science, like trying to be like tech what tech wise as Tails, like trying to say some of the sophisticated stuff that he says in there.
Oh
Those are the
yeah,
those lines are always the hard ones because you gotta
I
really.
agree.
You can agree with me on this because you voiced Tails in something. Yeah, like in the urban warfare for me. Like trying to say those like the stuff that he says in there, like net scientific and like technology wise, it's hard to really get the right pronunciation and how you when they have to really say it, especially when you have to say it fast. It's difficult to really get like get the line right without messing up.
Dude, it is so hard. Like in order to deliver the line right, you have to sound like you know what you're talking about, which man, I don't know what we're talking about. Like
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Do you want to know a fun fact? I actually saw Colleen O'Shaughnessy at San Diego Comic Con because she was at a specific booth, and I actually talked to her about um how hard is it to pronounce all those like scientific terms that the Sonic writers give you, because she actually tells me that like whenever she's recording for Tales, like they always try to trip her up with with the huge words, but she manages to pronounce them very well, and she said she can see them through the glass and they're like, "Oh, I thought we got her."
oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, she actually told me this story, so I was like, "Oh, now," and she literally said this exact same thing YouTubers say. It's like, yeah, I have to pretend that I know what he's talking about to sound smart. It was like, I was like, so when you guys started talking, I was like, yeah, you have to like sound like you know what you're talking about, and she said the exact same thing when I talked to her.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so fun fact.
That's that's so funny. Oh my
It just makes sense, Colleen's been voicing Tails for a long time now at this point. So like
yeah.
she knows that like whenever she has to voice Tails, she has to she has to sound smart
Right.
and read all those big words. If anything.
I wonder
Mm,
if Mike Pollock feels the same because Eggman goes on long rants about his new um his new machine and stuff like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there has to be a strain on him when he's trying to do that.
I know.
yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if they probably do give him big words too, scientific words. I am curious about that to see if it's exactly like Colleen, where it's like, yeah, I have to sound like I'm smart and I know what I'm talking. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Here is my next question. What are your long-term goals and aspiration in voice acting?
Huh. For me, I want to actually try to get really, good to being part of, be a part, be a part of more projects out there. That's not just like like with the whole Japanese voice acting. I want to actually be able to get out there to do more other projects that's not just with Sonic. One of my other dreams, aside from like voice acting, is to actually be able to go to Japan and work with the amazing animators and story writers when it comes to anime. Sucks that I won't be able to meet the great legend Akira Toriyama. Ray, rest in peace. Along with the creators of uh, Yu-Gi-Oh and I forgot what the other one was. Berserk.
That's so interesting. Great long-term aspiration, Chris. I've always wanted to go to Japan as well. Like,
Me
um,
too.
Japan is definitely on my bucket list of places to travel to because I had like other family friends that been there, like especially my godmother, and she got me like this cute like Hello Kitty pen from there, as a souvenir. But I did tell her I'm not really into Hello Kitty anymore.
Oh.
I had to tell her that because, like, I was like, I don't because my godmother, one of my godmothers, she's actually friends. She's my mom's best friend. And she and I don't think my mom told her I'm into other stuff now. So
Oh.
so when I told her, it's like I appreciate the gift, because it's like it's a souvenir that she got me, went out of her trouble to get me, but I just told her I'm not into Hello Kitty anymore like I was when I was younger. Um, but that's really great, Chris.
I agree.
Mentioned this one thing that sometimes people don't dream big enough, but you are dreaming
One sec,
big.
I need to change the output real quick.
Yeah.
No problem.
Excuse me, Chris. Leah was having an emotional speech.
Alright.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, hang on. Try talking?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure it's like I can hear you through the mic and making sure that they can hear you guys. Alright.
Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, there was a specific so Steve Harvey mentioned to this specific individual because they were, asking for advice, and Steve Harvey said something that really stuck in my head where it's like sometimes people don't dream big enough, but
Mhm.
you with your long-term aspirations, you are dreaming big, Chris. And that's phenomenal and amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's a little known fact about my character, my OC. He is actually based off an anime variant of myself from an anime that been working on even before doing YouTube content. And I decided like, why make a random OC that's just like something else when I could make it based off of my anime character version of myself.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
interesting. Very, very interesting. Ooh, okay.
There's a question in the chat. Wahoo!
You wanna read it, Boone?
Oh, sure. Let me see. This is from Chaotic Emerald with a K. A random question: is there a Sonic character you think you could take in a fight, hypothetically?
I would have to say Sonic.
Ooh.
With the my
Ooh.
character's OC's ability of lightning manipulation, he'd be able to move just as fast as Sonic, but not as fast as him being able to break the sound barrier.
Ooh, interesting.
You're gonna fight Sonic, the hero? Oh man, Chris, how could you?
Be fighting him as a friend, not as a villain.
It's a friendly fight, It's
Exactly.
not to the it's a friendly fight. Like,
Ain't Eggman.
ooh, okay. Boone, do you have a question for Chris?
um, get back to me.
Okay, no problem. Oh, okay. Here's my next question for you, Chris. Name some of your favorite Sonic comic dubs you have posted on your YouTube channel. You can name several. I'm not making you choose just one. You can name like several if you want.
And what was the question again?
Name some of your favorite Sonic comic dubs. It could be like the IDW ones or like artists like fan comics.
Alright, I can definitely name off one. There's one, and that was way back when I fully started getting into the whole voice acting thing. one that was called Amy Has a Secret Crush by I forgot their name. Yeah, but like it was involving like a few years later after like where Sonic and his friends have like like sit down and just had a normal life, having kids and whatnot. I played a
Mhm.
character, a little fan character, who had a crush on Amy. The character didn't really have much of a name, but like I had a lot of fun in voicing that. My friend Darkbox and his girlfriend joined in as Sonic and Amy, and
Mm.
for the last part of the comic, my girlfriend, before the time she was my girlfriend, she played the female character that the fan character uh, came in contact with and started to fall in love with. That's
Wait, is this
one.
the oh, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, if you're talking about the one that like Amy has a secret crush, yes, that's what I was talking about.
The Outer World Sunnyverse comic
Yeah,
that she made. Yeah. Okay.
yep, that's one of them.
Nice.
There's a lot of fan ones too. There is one that I had fun doing with Cutie Cat as Surge, and this one is from the Height Buddy, Aiden versus Surge. Another fan character that doesn't really have a voice. Got to actually really put in the emotion as the character who still has a lot of mystery behind him. And I look forward to seeing what the Hype Buddy has in store for the character. As for
Oh.
official ones, aside from the most recent ones, I would have to say the Winter Jam. Even though that one wasn't posted on my channel, it's still something that I was a part of with a few of the others in our group in our server. Yeah, that was posted on James, aka Mr. JPEG's The Winter Jam. I got to join in as
Yay!
Omega.
Nice.
That one I had a lot of fun in. I will say also the Urban Warfare was also a fun one getting to be a part of because I got to use the newer filters I made, like custom made myself.
Mm. Nice.
And I will say one that I'm not like fully a part of because we have like some of the editors doing it. I just do the editing and sometimes James. I would have to say the summer endless summer one was definitely a fun one to release for people to enjoy.
Oh yeah, that one was fun.
And the biggest one, there's so many of them, but this will be the last one to literally say would have to be the 900 Adventure one. That one was fun to do. I got to voice Tails. That was actually the first comic that I actually did voicing Tails on the channel.
Oh.
And I will say this, it was a pain to edit, considering that one was like a double or possibly triple take comic and story.
Oh man.
Yeah, for
Oh, pain.
sure. Oh.
Worth it though.
Nice.
It was worth it.
Yeah. Nice.
I love the work you do, Chris. You put so much effort into not only just your voice acting, but also all of your projects and stuff. It is just really awesome because it's given a lot of people a chance to shine.
Yeah.
And that's what I love being able to do, especially when it comes to the
Aw.
fan comic. It gives both the people who want to do some voice acting, but also the artists a chance to have their work shown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually bought the Sonic Revo 10th anniversary fan comic. The artist did such an amazing job on it.
Yeah, I
um,
want to dub that one along with the others, but we still gotta wait for the digital copy for that.
yeah. um, um, let's see. All right, here is another question I have, Chris. I know you have done your own Q&A live stream series, which is how Ask the Chaos Protectors. I'm pretty sure your audience would like to know how you get in contact with the content creators and special guests?
I try to find ways to get in contact with them, whether or not it's on Discord or Twitter or Instagram. No, it is pretty hard to actually get in contact with them. And when I do, like, try to get in contact with them, I try to introduce them as myself. Like, yeah, not as the person, like, not like, in character or anything. Like, me actually wanting to get in contact with a person to fully get to know how their career, how they became this in their career, whether or not it's YouTube or IRL. Like, for instance, when it came to Bill Fredberger and Mike Pollock, even Ian Flynn and so many other people, including Cindy, which you've been with me on, Leah. We get to
Yeah.
actually, we actually get to I get to be able to get to know the people behind the stuff they do, behind the voices, behind the characters that they play. Because like when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to people like Mike Pollock, he voiced in shows that were my childhood. Like so many shows
Mm-hmm.
that I had forgotten until he brought up those names.
Mm.
And then when it comes to like Bill and Cindy, who and Sonic Boom, a show that was very hilarious. I wish there would be a third season, but that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, because I think there's like whenever like it's great that we do Q&As with voice actors because sometimes there's some fans out there that can't differentiate between the voice actor and the character. Like they think the voice actor is the character. Like
Agreed.
sometimes because I've heard some voice actors have mentioned that sometimes they have to clarify to the fans. It's like, hey, I am not that character. I'm just voicing the character. Like they're trying to get them to separate because they are two different entities. You know,
Exactly.
yeah. So it's always good to at least with when you know the way we conduct these Q&As with the voice actors, it's like we're getting to know them,
Yeah.
like what they do behind the scenes. It's not about, oh, I'm a huge fan, let's talk about and everything, but it's pretty much just learning how to differentiate, that like even I believe Roger has mentioned this. It's like I'm not the character. The
Me.
I'm just a voice actor voicing the character.
Right.
like
Yeah.
Even with the amount of
like
times I've talked with Mike, I always treat him as a normal person. I don't see him as anything else, even if he does play voice Dr. Eggman. I still see him as himself.
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah, so it yeah, I would have to say like doing that Q&A with both Bill and Cindy, I was I was yeah, I remember I helped you get Bill because I told you, "Oh yeah, I have contact with him." I'm actually fun fact. Another fun fact that I'm going to throw out there is that I'm actually pretty good friends with four of the Sonic Boom TV writers. I'm pretty good friends with Bill and his son Sam, as
It
well
was
as
nice getting
Alan.
to meet them back at the 2023 in person convention. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, so I like every time I see them at the in person, they're like, "Hey," like I can just talk to them as normal people, as a normal person. I've become pretty close friends with them, and they always ask, "How are you doing?" So yeah, fun fact, I'm pretty close friends with before the Boom Writers.
Hmm.
um,
That is so cool.
yeah.
And to
I'm,
add to like with the amount of guests I've had on, like I've even like to me when it comes to the Q&A, I don't really care about
Yeah.
Chris.
what
Oh.
community. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you kind of cut off a bit. Like it went silent a bit. I'm like, uh
Hmm.
oh.
Okay.
I thought something was wrong on my end. I'm like, oh no.
How do I sound now?
Perfectly
Okay.
fine.
Yeah,
All right.
perfectly fine.
What I was trying to say was, like, in regards to my series, like, to me, I don't care what the community, like, you're in. Like for instance, one of my like my season one finale of my series, where I had Dai Tomodachi. He's part of the sometimes the Sonic community, but mainly like the Dragon Ball, the JoJo, and so many other franchises. Like to me, like it doesn't matter what franchise like they're part of. Just getting to know the person behind the channel, behind the stuff that they work on, and like it's always fun to do. Heck is one of the people who pushes me along with Shadow and 759, Roe. I don't think I ever had Roe on the channel. No, I have not. At least not yet. System 509 and so many other animators I've had on the channel. Like those guys are the people who also pushes me to actually try to get into 3D animating. And to this day, I will
Mm.
still say, along with Darkbox as well, because he's done a lot of animating as well. These guys are the things that also pushes me to try to do something I like that is pretty hard to do, but it's something I want to actually push myself to be able to do.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Oh, okay. I actually Boone, do you have another question for Chris?
I do. This kind of relates to the whole like comic question you asked a little bit earlier. Um, but what's like in terms of like official, like IDW or Archie and official Sonic comic work? What's
Mm-hmm.
your favorite artist from there?
With the amount of comics
Ooh.
I've read from the IDW, there's so many good ones. I like how some of them changes depending on who is doing it.
Yeah.
But I would have to say the one that really stands out the most to me that I really like is Men's comics like the Winter Jam and some of the other
Mhm.
ones that weren't the annual comics.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Like the art style that he has for his comics that he does, like the ones that he does for the IDW, they are amazing.
I agree. I love his art. It's excellent. It's excellente. Chef's kiss. It's good, great, awesome, outstanding, amazing.
I actually got to meet Minho Kim at the Sonic Speed Cafe during San Diego Comic Con because several of the Sonic IDW like comic artists were actually there for meet and greets. And I got to meet Minho Kim, Daniel Barnes, and Natalie Fortrain. And I actually got a photo with him too. um
Lucky.
and what's cool is that I actually had them sign the Sonic Revo 10th anniversary fan comic. And when I gave it to Min, he's like, oh my gosh, it's the fan comic.
Oh, that means a lot right
Aww.
there.
like like he was well aware of it. And then I told him, can you sign in the autograph section? Because the anniversary fan comic actually has an autograph section in the back of the thing. So he actually signed it, and I think he doodled something in there too. So it was great. I was like, this is great. Like the fact that he was very well aware of it. So
That's so cool.
yeah. um but yeah, that's another fun fact. I've just been meeting people now at this point. Um but yeah, but that's great, Chris.
Thank you.
Ooh, okay. I have here is my next question. I am curious, have you tried the Sonic X IHOP collaboration that they had a while back? I'm very curious if you did.
No, I missed out on that.
Ah.
I actually
And
did miss out on that.
oh. The second part of this question is if you were to suggest a new Sonic themed menu item for, the Sonic X IHOP collaboration, which character would it be and what type of menu item would it be?
Hmm. Honestly, I know they like when it came to like the first collaboration they did, they had Sonic, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman. Why not give some of the other characters a shot in having like a special kind of food menu on there? Like for instance, yeah, why not give something like for Omega?
Ooh.
Now, now as for what his would be, honestly, that is a tough one. That legit is a tough one because it could be anything, especially in regards to Omega.
Yeah, yeah. I think you just have to look at like their menu in IHOP so you have a better idea, and then maybe theme it,
Yeah,
around a specific character. Because I know the reason they only did Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, and Eggman is because like at least with those characters you can think of something, a themed menu item that would make sense that they would sell at IHOP. So I think maybe that's why they only did those six characters, if anything. Because
which is
Omega
like
is definitely tough. Like, like I would say Omega, I agree with you. Omega is definitely tough. Like, what menu item would you give Omega?
exactly.
How about like another character? Can you think of another character you feel you felt that they should have had a menu item?
Well, considering that they had Shadow, they should have had Silver.
Hmm. I am curious what would his menu item be?
I feel like his would like obviously be eggs, but uh, it is just like with Omega. It's hard to really think of what his menu items would be because it could be anything when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe I think it's like the other characters, it's a little bit harder to figure out what their menu item would be. So I think that's why they stuck with like the main six, you know?
Yeah,
If I would think that's why. Like um
Let's get Cosmo in there, and then we can just hand out a little piece of lettuce.
yes,
piece of lettuce.
not wrong.
I like I would presume Cosmo would be like a themed salad or something that would
Yeah,
look like a themed rose or like a blooming rose or something.
put some edible flowers in there that you can actually eat. That would be so cool.
Oh, oh my gosh, Boone had that is such a great idea.
Yeah, Sega, could you hire
Yes,
me?
please.
Hire all three of us.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Boone. Do you have another question for Chris?
So what's like your recording process like? What's the like are there any specific like drinks or foods that you stay away from to keep your voice nice and clear and ready for like, a recording session? Like just what's your recording situation like?
Hmm. I know when it comes
Mm.
to like eating, most of the time I'm not fully hungry. So even during the times when I'm about to record, I'm not really hungry. I do try to drink plenty of water, especially with
Mhm.
nowadays, like when we trying to fully get into the whole acting, voice acting thing. Like the other day, I did feel like a strain after recording, re-recording some lines more than once for the Urban Warfare comic. I started to feel the strain of that even after drinking plenty of water.
Mm.
So I definitely know how you guys feel when it comes to that. I'm always making sure to drink plenty of water, especially after that.
Mm-hmm.
But
And you
yeah,
live in Arizona. Whoa.
yes, dang, help me. But yeah, don't really do
Because I
much when it comes
know,
to that.
mm, yeah, because I know, like, I know, a few of our, Revo VAs have told me that, like, stay away from dairy. because like if you eat anything dairy, I think it says it kind of like sticks in some way or something. That's why they say stay away from dairy if you're going to record.
Yeah, it'll like coat your throat and make it thick and stuff, and it just, it just makes you more saliva-y, I guess. Kind of.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've heard too. So it's
Mhm.
like I'm like learning about VA stuff. It's so like it's very insightful. I'm like interesting
Yeah,
because
the
I
more you
know,
learn, the more you get to know them.
yeah. Because like I know when you're doing those recording sessions, your mouth will get dry very fast, and you
Oh yeah.
definitely need to like, oh, I need to rehydrate so my voice doesn't sound dry. Ooh, looks like I see a question from MC.
Ooh.
Um, question for Chris. What is the greatest compliment you've ever received?
Hmm. Are you talking about if it was something in like with media part of it, or in one of the ones that you guys have been a part of?
Um, I would say maybe I would say maybe it's like any stuff that you voiced in because MC didn't really emphasize on the question.
Specify?
Yeah, yeah. MC didn't really specify, so I would presume anything you voiced in.
I would have to say once again it would have to be the very first comic dev that I posted on my channel that involved me actually doing actual voice voice work on, which was the Amy's secret. Amy has a secret crush.
Mm.
I got like a voice, one of their character, like their friend character for this comic, giving him a voice, and the creator loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Honestly, I enjoy being able to actually give characters like that don't really have a voice, just like with Sasso when it comes to Gadget. Yeah, like giving that character a voice. I
Nice.
enjoy doing that, and I still enjoy doing it when it comes to Aiden from the Hype Bro. No, Hype Buddy.
Mm.
It's just like with him, he doesn't really have an official voice. And I think I've shown that I'm the only one who's actually interested in voicing the character itself, and actually has more interest and curious about the character itself.
Mm. Nice. Yeah, apparently MC put in that question that Boone and I are welcome to answer. Do you want to answer, Boone?
You go first. I have to think about.
Oh my gosh. I've received so many compliments throughout my like time as like a Revo graphic designer. um I would have to say I would have to say the greatest compliments, you know, if it's like outside of Revo, it was like recently yeah, it was like recently during San Diego Comic-Con. I actually was hanging out with one of my friends I haven't seen since like my college days. And and the funny thing is that she's never met any she's a huge Sonic fan as well, but she's never met any of the Sonic VAs. And I got to see Jason. Jason Griffith was there at San Diego Comic Con just doing signing for one of the days. So I was at his booth just chatting with him. I was texting my friend because she's never met Jason Griffith. And I said, "Girl, I'm talking to Jason Griffith. Why don't you come over here?" So she did. And and she gave me the greatest compliment, and she's like, "Girl, she literally told me, you're just meeting all these Sonic VAs and you're like making friends with them." I'm like, um and she literally posted on her Instagram that like I got to meet three Sonic VAs because of my friend, because she tagged me. I'm like, I felt like a ping of like the greatest compliment ever.
Aww.
Yeah. So that's to answer your question, MC. How about you, Boone?
That is so hard because, like, I don't even know if I can answer that because every single compliment that I've ever received, I just like people like throw it at me, and then I don't hit it with a baseball bat. I just grab it and then I hold it close to my heart, and then I cherish it forever. So it's like a hard. I can't answer. I just love and cherish each and every single one of them. So
Aw.
yeah,
It's always good to cherish every great compliment, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question for you, Chris. If you were to suggest a Sonic Speed Cafe menu item, which character would it be and what food would it be? For those who haven't been, there is an actual official Sonic Speed Cafe. um, both in currently in Katy, Texas, and San Diego. and and I had the great pleasure of eating there at least like 4 times. At the San Diego location because they actually did the Speed Cafe. They actually officially started it last year during last year's San Diego Comic Con, and then they turned back to San Diego this year. And I think from what they put on their Instagram, they're open until like November 3 in the San Diego location.
Hmm.
So, hmm
Repeat the question again.
Okay. If you were to suggest a Sonic Speed Cafe menu item, which character would it be and what food would it be?
Hmm. I know with the Speed Cafe one, like there's not only breakfast, I think, but also like like lunch and whatnot. I would have to say you have to go back with Omega again. Pretty sure they can think of a lot of stuff when it comes for that.
Mm.
As when it comes to breakfast, you're limited to what you can do for Omega for breakfast. But when it comes to lunch, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's true. Have you thought about what menu item would it be? Would it be like a beverage or would it be an actual food item?
I would say it would be a food item because it'd be kind of hard to think of something for drink, beverage. So I would have to say a food item.
Ooh, what type of food would it be?
Steak. Did you catch that?
Ooh.
Steak. Okay, these, like for
Steak.
example, well, think about it. You got Omega's tough exterior, and steaks are also pretty hard to bite into, and it's all of them, so it'd be perfect.
that that makes total sense. You put so much thought into that. What? That's actually genius.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like, but I would say, from their recent stuff, they did add like I'm not sure if you know this. They actually did this interesting experiment of putting like the toppings that you would typically put on a pizza, like cheese and pepperoni on a
Yeah.
hot dog. So that was actually a new menu item at the San Diego location.
Now I want to try
When
it.
I haven't tried it yet. I did try the chili dog. Pretty delicious. It wasn't too salty or anything, which was good. I'm like, thank goodness this is not too salty. um, but yeah, they did add like a few menu items. They actually added like mac and cheese, and that's the chow thing.
Hmm.
Because get it, mac and cheese. They have a character named Cheese.
Lol.
Um, my friend actually got the mac and cheese menu item. I'm trying to remember what else did they have that they added because I know they added like new menu items. I'm yeah. Yeah. I would have to like look it up. It's been like a few weeks, so I have to like look it up again because oh yeah, I know the thing. They actually switched out Tails' slushy for tea because so Tails actually has a tea now. It's no longer a slushy. I actually asked one of the co-founders about that, and he said, "Oh yeah, we replaced Tails' slushy with the tea now." So, um, that's from what they told me. So,
Hmm.
hmm
Interesting.
yeah. Boone, do you have another question for Chris?
I do. Is there any like Sonic fan projects that what's the word? That like what are your favorite Sonic fan projects basically? Sorry.
Mm, like the only fan project aside from the the extra for MC, the only actual fan project that I'm actually a part of, hopefully they actually do get back to it eventually, is one called Sonic Counterpart, an AU where things like the events of Sonic the Hedgehog turned out differently, where Amy actually teams up with Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman saved
Oh.
Amy instead of Sonic.
What? Whoa.
And this was her when she was a little kid, too. So she wouldn't even know any better when it came to Dr. Eggman because this was her first time encountering Dr. Eggman, so she wouldn't know anything about him. So, you know how Eggman is, he would actually try to manipulate her, and he actually succeeded, and she's been
Hmm.
working with him since then.
Interesting. I always love those what ifs. You know, what ifs are so
Yeah.
interesting. Like it's kind of like it's like the reversal. It's like, oh, what if Sonic didn't save her and it was like Eggman actually doing that? Interesting. Very interesting to think about.
It's something fun to think about.
It
For
is.
sure. For sure. Yeah. It's just interesting. I'm just like I was like I have like you know it's that huge eyes emoji, you
Mm.
know, where I'm like this I gotta see. um, but anyways, here is my next question for you, Chris. If you could recommend any new Sonic merchandise that they haven't released, what would it be and why?
Honestly, it'd be kind of tough considering that they have been including other and some of the other Sonic characters into some of the merch. But how about bringing in some of the newer characters that have been introduced, even ones that
Mm-hmm.
haven't been seen since their debut games?
Ooh.
Like for instance, Trip, Gadget, or in this case, the custom hero. But mainly Gadget because he was on the main cover of the game, even though it was like a different color of him, but it was still him. And even Barry. Because when you
Ooh.
think about it, the fact that he does make cameo appearances in the comics, in the IDW comics, which are canon, and it would make him like a canon character.
Ooh. What type of merchandise would it be?
Probably start off small with a plushie.
Oh, a berry plushie. This I gotta see.
Even a Trip one, and even a Gadget one. Not a fan made one, an actual Sega approved plushie of the three.
Ooh, I would totally get Barry because I love Barry. Barry was just like he was just like basically Barry was just adorkable in Murder of Sonic.
True.
He is.
Because remember, Boone, we actually when Ultimate was playing it and we were just voicing the character.
Yes, that was so fun. I love that.
And I immediately loved Barry's character. I was just like, oh my gosh, Barry is pretty much us if we were, from Barry is pretty much the audience. It's kind of like, oh, what if you were actually involved with Sonic and Friends? You're like, what kind of bunch am I involved with?
Right.
Like everything they said in the game was just so valid. And I'm like, I would totally say the exact same thing as this character. Um, but yeah, I would totally get a Barry plushie if they ever made one.
Right. Give some of the characters that haven't been seen in years, or in this case, I think it's only been a year since Sonic and Superstars has been released. At least almost, at least not yet. Yeah, but at least give them some love and actually have like chances to appear more like in merch and in the comics. It'd be nice. I know a lot of people have
Ooh,
made like their own variants of what modern triple look like. Because who knows?
ooh,
We may get a little cameo appearance of Trip in the comics, and like with the upcoming new classic Sonic comic, which is literally for Knuckles. Who's to say we might see Trip again?
ooh. But I am curious, how would it work for Trip? Would it be like the actual helmet on her head, or would it be like without the helmet
I
if
feel
it was
like
like in fleshy form?
it'll be a bit of both because in the game she has been very shy even when it came to meeting Sonic and his friends, aside from Amy.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a bit of both, which would be understandable.
Mm. So is it like a removable helmet in plushy form?
Mm, I feel like they would because I've seen like if you've seen some of like some other plushies like they're not just like Sonic. You see how they actually have like and some of those dolls those plushies having like a hood like a jacket on and a hood where you can put it on and put it and take it off. It'll be like one of those for tripping with a helmet.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because I was wondering about that. I was like, what if people want to take the helmet off? It's like, you have to give them that option, you
Right.
know, because we do know what Trip looks like underneath the helmet. So it would make sense to at least have like a removable helmet, for Trip if she ever got a plushie.
Honestly, her super form still confuses me, but also surprises me to this day because, like, unlike in the usual like super form transformation, hers is more unique, turning her into a dragon, completely changing her appearance. Unlike Sonic and his friends. Well, maybe a bit
Mhm.
of Knuckles with his dreads growing longer,
Mhm.
but that's just like a small change. With Trip, it's a full-on change.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Huh? Sorry.
You're fine.
Boone, do you have another question?
Um, Let me see. Um, is there a piece of Sonic merchandise that you own that's your favorite?
Ooh, great question.
Thank you.
What was the question again?
Is there like a piece of Sonic merchandise that you own that's your favorite?
Mm, Honestly, I do have a Funko Pop of Silver that my girlfriend gave to me for Christmas a few years back. I still have it to this day.
Oh.
I don't have any other merchandise aside from the comics that I bought from this year's convention. But I do
Oh.
have some of my friends like Moogie Mikey, like one of his artwork that he had made for the convention. Yeah,
Oh,
I
like,
got
like a print?
Yeah, I got one of
Oh,
his Shadow and Rouge posters,
that's
Oh,
sweet.
nice.
and I did get the stickers, like Shadow and Rouge and the Dark Chow.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool because, like, it's a good thing that question wasn't towards me because I have too many to count, if anything. But here is my next question for you, Chris. Which Sonic game music is your favorite and why?
Hmm, favorite Sonic music. I'm gonna be adding
That
a
is
bit of both, like fan, the comics, and 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 official ones. Definitely one would like for a fan one. I would have to give props to my friend Ty McGrath with the Final Horizons song for Sonic Frontiers. That one is still a banger.
Oh,
And as for official, I would have to say Kellen Quinn's version of "I'm Here" for Sonic Frontiers, New Horizons.
nice. I think you're like the first person that I asked actually said like that specific one from Frontiers. Because most people, if you ask what's your favorite music from Frontiers, they'll either say like Vandalized, Break Through It All, you know.
Those ones are still my favorite, but like their version of "I'm Here" is still a banger. It's still
it's your
Yeah.
top favorite.
along with the themes from the Titan fights.
Nice.
Nice choice.
Yeah, it's very rare, like I said. Like I think you're like the first person that said I'm here as like their favorite Sonic music. Like I think the others that I have asked, they say like other games music, which is understandable because Sonic music is phenomenal. Like they like their songs are a banger. So it's definitely tough to choose like a favorite. All right, Boone, do you have another question?
Oh my gosh. What's your favorite video game console?
Ooh,
Oh.
gotta hit me with that hard one, don't you?
Sorry, I'm
You're
sorry.
good. You're good. You're good. Uh, dang it, too many good ones. Definitely, Switch would have to be one of them. As like literally being able to play some of your favorite games on there, it's still good. But I would have to say the PlayStation console. I have played the PlayStation since the first one all the way up to now. So the only one I've ever
No.
actually fully played was the PlayStation Go, PlayStation Portable Go.
Ah, the PSP.
Yeah, the other one that slides where the screen slides up.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's the only PlayStation console I have never played. I played the
Mm,
PlayStation Portable and the advanced version of that one, but never played that
mm, gotcha.
one. Well, as
Yeah,
well as the PS5 because those things cost a lot of money, but I still plan on getting.
yeah. Because like it's like a nostalgia trip though. Like remember the very first PlayStation when you turn on, it has that epic music when you start it up. Like I don't exactly remember. I have to like look it up with the original PlayStation. It had this epic music every time you put the disc in and then it loads it up and I'm just like this is so nostalgic. Like PlayStation's very solid. Yeah, I kind of played like I know I played like both like Nintendo consoles and PlayStation, so I totally get it.
I played a lot of the Nintendo systems. Yeah, a lot of didn't play much of the Xbox systems, so can't really give my opinion on that.
Mm.
And I played a lot of the Wii systems, except for the Wii U. That was the only one I have never played.
Yay!
Yeah, I
Woo!
I had a Wii U. But then, at some point, it was like wear and tear and then it stopped working. So
Aw.
yeah, it's just wear and tear, if you play it a lot. So but ooh, okay. Let me go see where's my next question. Ooh, okay. What is your favorite non-Sonic game?
Hands down, Legend of Zelda.
Ooh, nice choice.
Legend of Zelda is a game from Nintendo that I enjoy playing. I remember when I was a kid, for Halloween, I dressed up as Link for Halloween.
Aw,
Aw. Nice.
But
that's
also,
really cool.
Pokemon as well. I played all of the Pokemon games except for the trading card video game and the Pokemon Go.
Ah, yeah. Pokemon Go, it's like it's on your phone, so I totally
Yeah,
get it.
with me not really going around that much into really do any of that, I don't really play it. Need to be moving around in order to actually get some of the Pokemon in there. So I miss out on
It's
a lot of good.
yeah, Pokemon Go is pretty much an experience at this point because like there's this cute little funny thing that happened with one of my college friends because I was pursuing like a multimedia degree. I wasn't in like I used to play mobile games, but then I stopped. It's like you know it's like when you get busy, so you just never have time. So, but my friend actually had Pokemon Go, and like, like she because there's this thing in Pokemon Go that if you make a gyms, like other players can try to take over your gym. That's a thing in Pokemon Go. And she literally like, oh no, I better stop this player who's trying to like take over my gym. I'm like, that's a thing? Like I literally like asked her that's a thing, and she's like, yeah, it's a thing. I was like, oh wow. I remember Pokemon used to be so simple back in the day. Now it's so much more complex.
My mom, when she was younger, she used to like collect the cards and stuff, but she didn't even know that it was a video game. She just thought it was like a card game. She had no clue.
I used to collect the
Oh.
cards myself, along with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards as well.
Mm.
Nice.
Nice. That's so interesting, Boone. Your mom didn't know it was a video game?
No, but she loved the cards. And then her and her friend ended up seeing the movie in theaters, and they're like, "Huh? There's a story to it?" They were so confused. It's crazy.
Yeah, because the back in the day, card games didn't really have a story. It's kind of like you versus the other person, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and then now they come up with all these rules. Now it's like there's a story to these cards.
You're overcomplicating things.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, what happened to just you versus the other person? That's because that's literally what Uno is. Like
Yeah.
you versus the other people. So it's like, um, but that's great. Legend of Zelda is it's pretty popular. It has made a name for itself, especially with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
And it's definitely going
Um,
to be big when it comes to the first Legend of Zelda game where Zelda is the main protagonist, where you actually get to play as her fully
yeah,
as her, not
yeah,
in Smash Bros.
yeah, that's different. um, but yeah, I was kind of like, it is called Legend of Zelda, so I'm like, yeah, Zelda does need to have a playable appearance.
And now she does. Not even the other like spin-off games like Hyrule Warriors, and even Smash Bros. Don't even count because it's still like you can play as many different characters in that game in those games. While this one is a full-on story where she is the main protagonist, like fully
Mm.
main protagonist, living up to the name of Legend of Zelda.
Exactly. I'm kind of like, I remember the misconception back in the day that like people always assumed Link was Zelda because it was called
People
Legend of
still
Zelda. And
do.
like,
I
People still
I
do.
was that person. I was that person.
People still
yeah,
do to this day. People still do to this day.
it's hilarious because I'm kind of like, have you not played Smash Brothers? Do you not know the one with the sword is Link, not Zelda?
Exactly.
It's like I get the misconception because back in the day, video game titles usually is named after the main character. So I think, Legend of Zelda was kind of like something that was like out of the ordinary, you know? Because
Hmm.
would Legend of Link really have that same flair as Legend of
No.
Zelda?
No. Because he's always saving the other main protagonist in Zelda from the main antagonist, Ganon.
Yeah, so I think that's why they went with Legend of Zelda, even though she's kind of like the secondary, protagonist, if anything. Because Legend of Link, it doesn't roll off the tongue, as well as Legend of Zelda. So,
Right? It just makes it
if
sound
it,
weird, to be honest.
yeah. Like, could you imagine if they went with Legend of Link instead of Legend of Zelda?
It'd be very weird and very questionable.
um,
An alternate timeline where it's the Legend of Link.
yeah, that's a possibility. You never
All the
know.
people over there, they're like, wait, there's an alternate timeline where they call it the Legend of Zelda? That's so weird. What's going on?
While they're trying to save, while Zelda's trying to save Link, in that universe, and then you got Link who's trying to save her.
Hmm.
Mhm. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question for you, Chris. I know you went to the Sonic Revolution 2024 in-person event this year. I'm very curious, which voice actors were you excited to meet and why?
Definitely Lee Madube, because clearly that's an actual Hollywood actor. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, that you actually get to meet in actual person. Because, like, unlike having to meet Mike Pollock, who is a voice actor who voices in, like, yeah, like Sonic, as well as some of the other old VAs and current VAs for Sonic, having to meet Lee, yeah, who played Agent Stone in the movie, it was mind blowing.
I know, right?
Like literally, again, it's one thing when it's like you're meeting a voice actor from the games and everything, but it's another story when you're meeting a Hollywood actor.
hmm It's like mind blown.
Yeah, it was so cool that Revo could get him. That was really cool.
Like literally, like when I first saw that, I was questioning. Wait, hold on, wait. Am I seeing? No way, no way, no way, no way. We're actually trying to get him. We're actually trying to get Lee Maju. And then when we managed to hit, yeah, break that goal of actually getting him, I was shocked. Like literally, it's again, it's one thing to be able to try to get like the voice actors from the games to actually be able to appear, but getting to having to actually manage to get a Hollywood actor who is normally busy, yeah, like with like upcoming movies and whatnot, to actually appear at a convention is insane.
Mhm.
Big props to Second View and the others who helped with the Kickstarter to get that to help get that to help and to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, Lee Majdu. he is such a sweetheart. He's so nice and kind. Like I got to chat with him a bit, and he kind of told
Same.
me a story about like Jim Carrey. I asked him what was it like working with Jim Carrey, because the dude literally worked with Jim Carrey. It's like one of the big Hollywood actors,
Yeah, that's a guy who's been doing
and
it for years, even before Lee started acting.
hmm so he actually told me this blooper story that like, do you know that scene in, I think it was a movie one, I think, where Jim Carrey put like Sonic's blue quill in his mouth and he does that weird twitching thing,
Yeah.
you know? Um Lee actually told me that when they were filming that scene, Lee kept laughing every time Jim Carrey did that. And Jim Carrey just gave him like a serious look and he said, "Dude, you ruined the take." And he actually said, if you notice in that scene when I give that disgusted look,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually, and he literally said, that is me trying not to laugh. So he had to look away to
I'm gonna have to
make
look
that
back at that.
disgusted
I
look.
gotta look back at that. I gotta see that.
So he actually told me that was the reason why he did that disgusted look in that specific scene. So he wouldn't laugh and ruin the take.
My
Oh,
God.
It's hilarious. I
Now
was
I
just
gotta
like,
rewatch that scene. I gotta rewatch that scene now.
yeah, that was a fun fact that Lee told me. I'm like, what?
I know it had to been hard for him to try to keep the make sure people don't be asking about any spoilers for the third movie,
hmm
since he's gonna be a part of the third movie.
hmm I'm very excited to see what his role is in the third movie because they kind of hint it a bit, in the post credit scene. So, um, but the yeah. Boom. Do you have another question for Chris?
I don't.
That's
It's
okay.
alright. It's alright.
Ooh, okay. What is your favorite Sonic game and why?
Ah, why you gotta hit me with that question?
Oh no.
Oh, there's too many to choose from. That's why I have three. Frontiers, because of the amazing story. Don't worry about that. Frontiers Unleashed. Wish they would make a PC port of that. Please, Sega. We need a remake. Am I wrong? We need a remake. Come on.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
We've had so many other remakes. We need a remake of Sonic Unleashed. Give the
Oh.
fans what they want. Give the fans what they want.
Mm.
And my third one is Sonic Friendly. Yeah, Sonic
Sonic what?
Forces.
Oh, okay, because you kind of cut off a bit. I was like, what was the other part of the title?
Sonic
But not.
Frontiers, Unleashed, and Forces are my three top favorites.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love Frontiers. I love the direction they were going with that too. Like it's not your typical Sonic game that we come to know, just picking the level, that you have to go on. This
Mm-hmm.
is more like you can just explore to your heart's content and you'll
Right.
discover like secret stuff to get. And it's like, yeah, I love Frontiers for that reason. Because
And
like,
plus the little
yay!
tidbits of like some of the stuff he says, even talking about Tangle, who you can say is actually canon to the games as well.
Hmm
And then even Six, who is originally from the Boom universe, who is also canon in the games as well.
We love Stick.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here is my final question for you, Chris.
And yeah, Chaotic Emerald also had one final question as well.
Oh, okay. I'll probably read their question first then. What's your favorite Sonic show? Ooh, great question.
I got two. One, Sonic Boom. I wish they would make a third season. And Sonic Prime.
Ooh, nice.
Shout out to Devin
Nice.
Mack for the amazing work as in Sonic and as well as Chaos Sonic.
Oh yeah. If you guys saw on my Twitter, I actually met Devin Mack. I happened to run into him during San Diego Comic Con. um, and I think the most cool thing is that he actually told me his voice direction that he decided to go with Chaos Sonic, and he actually said he actually did that in tribute to Jaleel White actually. So
Yeah,
if you could
don't
kind
say.
of hear so if you could actually hear a bit of Jaleel White in, inspiration, he actually told me that himself. So um and everything, but that's great. Yeah, Sonic Boom is probably like I just love the self-awareness in that show. You gotta admit the self-awareness is just great. um and everything. And Sonic Prime had a pretty interesting story. Like I love it for the story, and what they were trying to tell.
Right.
Ooh, okay. hmm Okay, here is my final question. Which other Sonic media are your favorites other than the Sonic games? It can be like the actual official animations that they actually released on the Sonic official socials, or the comics, the movies.
Hmm. Definitely need Sonic officials in the movie.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, the movie universe is great. Like the movies like are doing pretty well, because I know normally video game adaptations into movies is pretty much met with skepticism. People
Mm-hmm.
can be skeptical because a lot of them are hit and miss.
So
If
true.
anything. So, at least the Sonic movies is like a prime example of them doing it correctly, where they are it's telling its own story while staying true and having a bit of the lore from the games. So I think it blends that very well, where, that's just from, what how I feel about the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can't wait
so
for the next one.
oh, I know, right? Like, it's just so ironic they are releasing Sonic X Shadow Generations to coincide with movie 3.
Yeah, it's really convenient.
Yeah, it's like I'm just like I want to see how similar but different at the same time Shadow's story is gonna be in movie 3. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep like, the core history, but while still making it its own thing. While it's not carbon copying the entire like his Shadow's whole backstory.
hmm
Right.
Because we have seen what they've done with like with the Master Emerald in movie 2, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, I did not know the little Chaos Emeralds were in there. That's new. I didn't know they were inside it.
Yeah, that
And they
was a big twist from how the emeralds are supposed to be. Like I get that the emeralds originated from the Master Emerald itself, but never expected it to actually be in the Master Emerald itself.
yeah, so I want to see how similar but different, because the movie universe for Sonic, they do a pretty good job. Like they kind of bring in elements, and lore from the Sonic games, but make it different at the same time where it's not. Because they kind of did that in the Knuckles show as well,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. But I want to see how similar and different it is. But yeah, the movies are, they're actually a really great example of like a very great video game adaptation of it. So, all right,
Yeah.
Chris, do you have any final words?
Yes, I do. I really enjoyed being able to answer all these questions more than I ever did in my own Q and A's. Yes, and during my own streams, definitely had a lot of fun with it. I'm glad a lot of people got to know more about me, especially with the in front of people, like for the people who I work with. And honestly,
Aw.
I want them to actually get to know more about me more than they have when they saw me in person.
And we are so happy to have you in the community. And you know what? We're all really happy to be able to call you our friend because you're so talented and so amazing and kind. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you for just being you. You're great.
And I thank you
Yeah.
guys for that.
Aw.
I mean that.
Yeah.
I really thank you guys for that.
Oh, you are welcome, Chris. I knew at some point I wanted to do a Q&A with you because you have been live streaming for my YouTube channel ever since I started doing these live streams. And this is like my huge thanks, that like you deserve a Q&A. Like your content's top notch. It's amazing. So I
Like I
wanted to
said,
do.
I have all of you guys as well as the other people I work with. Yeah, to thank for that.
Mhm. All right, so I will have to end this live stream. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I know I had like two live streams back to back, one yesterday and one today, but it was definitely worth it.
You're a trooper.
Yeah. It was great to do this Q&A with you, Chris, because I was like, yay, I finally get to do a Q&A with Chris.
Yeah.
And stay tuned because I am currently in planning the next Sonic Lore with Radar episode. It has been a while since we have done the Sonic Lore with Radar, and I'm also planning the next Lucky Charm podcast episode with G, aka the Cartoon Hotspot. So stay tuned for that. I'm also waiting to get confirmation for the reschedule of the Tangle and Blaze, where we will be doing a Q&A with Kevin because Kevin deserves a Q&A.
Right.
Um be on the lookout for those. And I am currently, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers that I'm trying to get another special guest Q&A. So stay tuned for that.
Yay.
Um, yeah. Yeah. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And this is Leah signing out. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Later.